Ramaphosa must go and all of that for the same cause about the issue of Phala Phala. Yena is a beneficiary of a PE. And then he was made by Capital, and Capital have chosen him. So he's a puppet of Capital. We know now that a number of ANC veterans like Nefi Murobe.
I have warned the nation of South Africa and the members of the ANC that Ramaphosa is entirely unsuited to lead this country and to lead the ANC. It is a mistake to keep Ramaphosa in office in the ANC and also in the country. So Mdolo's analysis, I've listened to the verbal presentation, I've read the articles about it. Mdolo is spot on. Spot on. And the ANC at any C level is largely unfit to lead the ANC itself. These people, the standard has dropped substantially. Those of us who have been looking at the ANC for a long time, the standard is probably at its lowest. We thought Zuma had lowered standards. Ramaphosa has taken it to unknown extremes.
South Africa stands at a crossroads. The ANC is in decline, and the man at the helm, Cyril Ramaphosa, faces growing calls for his recall. Is he the leader South Africa needs? Or is his leadership pushing the ANC closer to collapse? Welcome back to Inkari. It's time. In our last video, we unpacked the role Cyril Ramaphosa has played in the ANC's electoral decline. Today, we are diving deeper into whether the ANC can afford to continue under his leadership, or if the time has come for the party to make a bold change. This is a critical conversation about leadership, accountability, and South Africa's future. So let's get into it. Ramaphosa's leadership under the microscope. Cyril Ramaphosa came into power with a promise of renewal and reform. He was the new dawn that was meant to clean up the ANC's image after the scandals of the Zuma years. However, his leadership has been anything but decisive. Ramaphosa has often been accused of appeasing different factions within the party to maintain unity. This unity at all cost strategy has made him appear weak and indecisive, allowing corruption and incompetence to fester. Under his leadership, we have seen state-owned enterprises like Eskom, Transnet, and SAA spiral deeper into dysfunction. Load shedding has worsened, with no clear plan to address South Africa's energy crisis. His reluctance to take strong action against party officials implicated in corruption, many of whom are in his cabinet, has led to widespread public disappointment. Key question: can South Africa afford more of this indecision and lack of accountability?
This is the man who promised us a new dawn when he was elected president of the ANC in 2017 and when he became our state president in 2018. Have you ever seen that new dawn? Is there any South African anywhere in South Africa who has seen that new dawn? Let me tell you, I travel across the country. There is nothing called a new dawn in South Africa. Whether you are in the Eastern Cape, I was there 2 weeks ago. Whether you are in Bushbuckridge in Mpumalanga, where I was born, I was there a month or so ago. Whether you are in Gauteng, this is what you are going to see. Potholes all over, which is a sign of a collapse of the state under Ramaphosa. Number two, load shedding, blackouts all over. Ramaphosa has done nothing to turn that around. Criminality is rampant in South Africa. People are being killed left, right, and center. I mean, AKA was shot. But now we've seen that. Education is a mess. So if you take the critical pillars of a functioning modern state, Ramaphosa hasn't touched them over the past 5 years. So it would be a big mistake for anybody to take Ramaphosa very seriously. The last point I want to make with regard to the substance of the State of the National Address is that Ramaphosa has squandered his own credibility. I mean, if you recall the drama around Phala Phala, right? You know, when Ramaphosa became our president, he projected this image of a holier than thou, leader. In other words, someone who was better than Zuma. Zuma was corrupt, Ramaphosa was clean. That's the choreographed image we were fed, right?
Absolutely.
But of course, some of us dismissed that nonsense.
And we were lone voices.
And of course, we were told to, we were said to hate the ANC and not to give Ramaphosa a chance and all of that nonsense. Look, it doesn't matter what people in the ANC do. South Africans know that what happened in Phala Phala is wrong, is unlawful, it's criminal, and it's corrupt. And this is the farm of the president. So if the farm of the president is the scene of that kind of crime.
Electoral decline, a party in crisis. Let's talk numbers. In 2019, the ANC won just 57.5% of the vote, its lowest since 1994. The 2021 municipal elections were even worse, with the party dropping below 50% nationally for the first time. In Gauteng, the ANC managed only 46%, losing key metros like Johannesburg and Tshwane. In KwaZulu-Natal, its traditional stronghold, the party barely held on to a majority in some areas, with opposition parties like the IFP making significant gains. Urban voters, especially the youth, are turning away from the ANC in droves. Why? Because the promises of job creation, economic growth, and service delivery remained unfulfilled. Instead of addressing these issues head-on, Ramaphosa's government has been plagued by scandals and inefficiency. How can the ANC expect to win back trust when the same issues persist elections after election? The Zuma effect and KZN's rebellion. Jacob Zuma may no longer be president, but his influence looms large, especially in KwaZulu-Natal. Many ANC members in the province feel alienated by Ramaphosa's leadership, seeing him as someone who represents business interests rather than the poor and marginalized. KZN is a province with a strong grassroots ANC presence, and many party members there remain loyal to Zuma. They view Ramaphosa as a betrayal of the radical economic transformation agenda that Zuma championed. The 2021 July unrest, sparked by Zuma's arrest, highlighted the deep divisions within the ANC and the party's inability to control its members and supporters. Ramaphosa's lack of connection with ANC structures in KZN has weakened his influence there. This rebellion within the party underscores the growing dissatisfaction with his leadership. Is the ANC in KZN signaling that other provinces might soon follow? Accountability, a call for change. The calls for Ramaphosa's recall are growing louder. Within the ANC, some members believe that removing him is the only way to save the party before the 2026 local government elections. His handling of the Phala Phala scandal has further eroded his credibility. Questions about the source of the money found on his farm and why it wasn't declared have left many South Africans feeling that he too is tainted by corruption. The Zondo Commission revealed damning evidence of state capture, and while Ramaphosa has promised to act on the recommendations, the lack of tangible outcomes suggests otherwise. If the ANC doesn't hold Ramaphosa accountable, it risks losing even more support in 2026. But will recalling him now create more chaos than it resolves? The 2024 elections deliver a devastating blow to the ANC, with its support plummeting to 40%, forcing the party into a government of national unity. Many within the party blame Cyril Ramaphosa, arguing that his leadership has alienated supporters and weakened the ANC's credibility. The unresolved Phala Phala scandal remains a dark cloud over Ramaphosa's presidency. Questions about the foreign currency found on his farm and his failure to act decisively on corruption have further eroded trust. While he promised to implement the Zondo Commission's recommendations, meaningful progress has been minimal, deepening disillusionment. Critics accuse Ramaphosa of steering the party away from its historic mission to uplift the poor, with some dubbing it the Ramaphosa ANC. His perceived closeness to figures like Helen Zille and big business has fueled anger among traditional supporters who feel abandoned. With the ANC now sharing power, the party faces a pivotal decision. Will recalling Ramaphosa help it rebuild or push it closer to collapse? The call for accountability is louder than ever, and the party's future hangs in the balance.
The words of KwaZulu-Natal, where do you stand on this issue of the president? Should he step down? Should he step aside? Or should he just resign as head of state and president of the ANC?
No, I think Samgelo, lucky I've read the report. There are very serious issues that are raised by the report, which I think for the head of state, they are raising they've got some serious ramifications. I think all lies in the conscience of President Ramaphosa, what he will do in the best interest of the country and the African National Congress, and that office that he holds as head of state. I think all now rest on him. Let's trust that he's going to do what is best for the country, for the ANC. I think you'll remember there was once an interview that was done by Mzwandile Mbeche with Northern Cape chairperson, Comrade Zaman. He said, which I also share the same sentiments, that we trust him, that he's going to do the right thing.
What is the right thing, Mr. Mtola? What is the right thing to do?
The right thing is to say, even if you consciously believe you have not done something wrong in your own understanding, but when things are like that, remember the panel was constituted by very senior legal minds. Former Chief Justice Sandile Ngobo, even if you can go to his profile, it's one of the most respected jurists of our time. And Judge Thokozile Mapisa and that advocate. Now, if they can come to that conclusion that they feel that they have a prima facie case that the president has not acted in a manner that is consistent with the constitution and some various laws, of which when he takes office, he plays allegiance to defend, uphold, and protect the constitution and all other laws of the republic. It's a serious matter. Then you would say as an individual, yes, but I think I must just put the interests of the country, and I'm sure if it was Nelson Mandela, he would resign.
What's next for the ANC? The ANC is at a critical juncture. If it hopes to remain relevant, it needs to make tough decisions now. The party must reconnect with its core values, fighting for the poor and marginalized, eradicating inequality, and delivering on its promises of a better life for all. Leadership renewal is critical. The ANC needs strong, visionary leaders who can address the party's internal divisions and rebuild public trust. The focus must shift to real issues: unemployment, poverty, and service delivery. South Africans want results, not more promises. The question is, does the ANC have the courage to make these changes, or will it continue down the path of decline?
I mean, President Cyril Ramaphosa yesterday apologizing to the country for what it's worth. He says for the inconvenience of load shedding. He cited the fact that inland schools went back to class just this week. I mean, what do we make with an apology from the president in this context?
Well, the president was in the war room. Financing for regular maintenance was withdrawn. And in fact, you defund, make sure things don't work. The people get angry and then privatize it. Sell it for a song. That's what we are headed towards at the moment. So I don't understand the apology. I mean, the president has been there in the war room. He understands the importance of ESCOM, but the decisions that they have taken, particularly in the period of trying to please the world with the just energy transition, were completely foolish. One is not saying don't burn the planet. But when you take foolish decisions like those ones at that apex level, it really begs the question, how are we led? Because to close a plant that is functioning, 1,000 megawatts, you know, if Russia-Ukraine war didn't occur, wool will be pulled over our eyes forever. This was a gift that showed the underlying reasons for closing fire-powered coal stations. It's about money and nothing else. It's not about the climate change or anything, which certainly has to be attended to. And if you want to genuinely attend to power stations and their effects, you have to start first by those people who have been inhaling these fumes. If you don't attend to those and compensate them for years of suffering, then your motives for climate are very doubtful.
But as I'm sitting right in front of you, I can tell you that Cyril Ramaphosa is not a business person. He knows nothing about business.
What is?
What is he? Probably he's a mascot. He's a clown. He's masquerading as a business person and as a leader. He's impersonating a leader and a president, and he's not. Rich people, billionaires, business people don't contest power. They influence power in different ways. They influence policies. Immediately when you see a so-called business person contesting a public position, then you must know that that is a puppet being used by white monopoly capital to control the anger of black people and subject black people into abject poverty while white people continue being rich. Because they'll say, yeah, but the leadership is black. This is the stooge of white people and we are not going anywhere. And I've heard a lot of people saying he's a mafia. It is an insult to the mafia family. He's not a mafia. The real mafias know what the role of a mafia is. When you look at the mafia, they take care of the communities where they come from. They take care of the people so that the people can protect them. Who can protect and defend him? Because all of us are in abject poverty and disarray. We are suffering as a country together with the white people. There is no middle class in South Africa anymore. Education doesn't assist us in any way. We are all poor. We are just credit worth. We can't even afford to pay those debts that we accumulate every day. That's what this guy has subjected to us into.
South Africa deserves leadership that prioritizes the needs of the people over internal party politics. The ANC is at a breaking point, and Cyril Ramaphosa's leadership, or lack thereof, is at the center of it all. If the ANC hopes to survive, they must make the hard choice to hold their president accountable. But whether they will act in time remains to be seen.
So what does it mean then? Because this is a party that's talking about renewal. This is a party that's looking to 2026 to try and reclaim lost ground. And then at the same time, you think about what you are now presenting as the odds that are stacked up against it. How should the NEC then be dealing with this particular issue?
Ordinarily, let's say this was the board of Anglo-American or the board of Pick and Pay, and you are the chairman of this board, you would ask the board members and yourself to submit their resignation to the shareholders.
So you say the NEC must resign?
I am. They are useless.
Wow. Okay.
What do you think? Is it time for the ANC to recall Ramaphosa, or does he still have a chance to redeem himself in the party? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more hard-hitting discussions on leadership and South Africa's future. Until next time, this is Kondos of Inkari. It's time signing off. Thank you for watching and take care.